We are going to shift our attention to our guest who is joining us from Lucedale, Mississippi. We have Miss Kristin Havens, who is a dairy farmer and owner of Havens Down Home Creamery. So welcome, Kristin.
Hello.
It's good to have you here. And on Onion Ring Day, I have to ask you, which is going to be your favorite? Are you team onion rings or are you team French fries?
That's a close one, but probably onion rings.
Now, do you ever have anyone who dips French fries into your one of the 50 flavors of your delicious ice cream?
No, but that might be idea.
That was a great idea you need to bring to the farm, because if you ever go through Wendy's, usually it's French fries and Frosties, but I had never met an ice cream that didn't make a French fry taste better. So that's just something for you to take back to the farm. But first, happy June Dairy Month. I know this is a busy month for dairy farmers, like all months are busy for hardworking dairy farmers. But I'm curious, Kristin, how did you and your family get into dairy farming? Did you grow up on a dairy farm?
My husband did. His grandparents owned one for 52 years, and so he was the Pawpaw's boy that rode around on the tractor and just always wanted to be a dairy farmer. So as he got older, he married me, and I'm just one of those, hey, you want to do it? Let's do it. So my little girl ended up being lactose intolerant, and we figured out that she could handle like a low-temp pasteurization milk, and she could not handle homogenized, but it wasn't really the lactose part. So long story short, we visited a few dairies in Mississippi, and then we started just low-temp pasteurizing, and because everybody wanted some. So there you go.
I'm sure there's a lot more to that story, Kristin, than just there you go.
Yeah,
we got some cows, but you bring up a good point for those that maybe hear pasteurized versus homogenized. Can you help sort of explain what the two differences are and why one's important, why the other is a preference?
Well, for us, if it has a cream line on it, then it's like more easily digested, if that makes sense. It's more of a whole food, not really a processed food, if that like makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So generally, like 99% of the people that come to my barn will literally stop me and tell me a story about they couldn't drink milk and now they can because it has cream on it and it's not been over processed. So what we do is basically just kill the bacteria. It's a low-temp pasteurization. It's not any kind of ultra-pasteurization or any other pasteurization, and it's not homogenization.
And that's where it just splits. So like when we buy our traditional milk in the grocery store, it's one fluid drink from top to bottom. You don't have to shake it, although some people I think do just out of nature shake their milk. But it's usually not necessary unless you get it homogenized, which sounds like what you guys do. Then you're going to have to sort of shake it to mix that good creaminess all through. But pasteurization is the raising it to a temperature that makes it safe to drink, because you wouldn't want to drink or risk drinking completely unpasteurized milk, specifically from a farm you wouldn't know the background of.
Right. There's a low-temp pasteurization and there's an ultra. From our experience with my daughter, she could not drink anything but a low-temp pasteurization. When it goes beyond that 145, she can't tolerate it. So the ultra pasteurizations go up to like 180, and I think there's one that does 210. It's just a lower, they only have to hold it there for like 15 seconds. Well, we have to hold ours on the 145 for 30 minutes. It's just a longer process, but we can it's better for us. That's what we feel.
Oh, yeah.
The qualities in the cream is just phenomenal.
The flavor and the taste and the decadence and all thing that makes a good glass of milk delicious is also in that cream, along with the other products that you guys have there at Havens. So you started out, just trying to produce milk for your daughter. How many cows did y'all grow to? How big's the Havens dairy herd now?
So we started out with 13, and we had, I think there's 32 on the line right now, and that's a good number for us. So that's not too many, but it's enough.
And when you say on the line, Kristin, that means those girls come into the barn twice a day?
Yep, twice a day.
365 days out of the year. So what is the Havens cow's milking times?
It takes us like far as going out there milking about an hour and a half. About an hour and a half.
Well, can you hang with us, Kristin? We would love to learn a little bit more what life like on a Mississippi dairy farm is, if you can stick with us.
Sure.
All righty, we've got more with Kristin Havens coming up. Adventure. And make sure if you're headed down to the Mississippi Gulf Coast through Lucedale, you get some of your Havens Down Home Creamery, whether it's their butter or their 50 flavors of ice cream or maybe their delicious milk. Joining us still to celebrate June Dairy Month is Kristin Havens, co-founder or co-part of the dairy farm. So, Kristin, I think, some people just they take for granted what it takes to get their good dairy to the table or to the store every day. So walk us just through a general day of what it's like there on the farm from maybe sun up to sundown when all things girls related.
Okay, so usually in the morning, my husband, he gets up and he makes his rounds to go gather the girls up, and he goes on back to milk. And I homeschool, so I try to get a lot of my chores, like in the barn, my labeling, any kind of like for ice cream and milk, that sort of thing. I try to get it done from like probably usually 6 to 8, so we can start school around 8. After he is done milking, then he gets to tend to all like the babies and the calves, the heifers, that sort of thing, and make sure everybody has hay. Usually he gets a chance then if there's any planning or, fixing fence, or it's always something to fix on, something to work on here. So usually he does that during the day. And after we're done with school, then the kids go to their chores. And right now we're in the process of building a barn. So my oldest goes out for that, and the rest of the little kids, we either tend to the garden or the chickens and that sort of thing. And then, let's see, and then I guess around 3, he goes back out, or around 3:30, he goes to gather the girls again. So he usually milks around 5:30 in the evening or morning, and usually around 4:30 in the evening. So, yeah, I think
it's
around 5:30.
And it's a 24-hour operation, 365 days a year. I think, when people understand what it goes into these local farmers, especially our small family farms, which so many dairy farms are still small dairy farms here in Mississippi, I think you just appreciate the product that you're getting more, and you seek out opportunities to support those that are doing it, from their own farms, like you guys do there at Havens Down Home Creamery. Is your farm where people can come and shop there? Like, do you have an on-site store, or is it all through your website, or maybe in some local places there in Lucedale? How can folks get some of that delicious milk, butter, and ice cream?
So, as far as June, we have a lot of hours in June, just because we're next to Charlie's U-Pick field, and they're open all during the day, during the week. So we do that as well here. But our normal business hours throughout the year are Sunday through Friday, 2 o'clock to 6 o'clock. And you can come here directly to the farm and get milk. We sell beef as well. And we dabble in cheese, so I have a little bit of cheese. And we sell cream. Sometimes we'll make butter, but most of the time I just sell a little bit of cream. Most of the cream goes into the ice cream. And I always have lots of ice cream. We do carry around, I think it's about 54 flavors now. And we do white milk, chocolate milk, and then there's buttermilk. I have about 17 stores in the surrounding, like George, Greene, and Jackson counties. But yeah, and we're in the process of actually now building a store in the front of our property. We've kind of outgrew the one that we're in, so we've got a lot of projects going on around here.
You have a lot of projects. It sounds like your typical dairy farmer, and they wear many hats, and they're always looking for ways to, get more of their delicious product out to families. Is your husband shocked? Like, he couldn't have written the script that this is where the Havens family would have ended up in, 2021. So is he pleased that, he's bringing back his grandfather's roots by taking dairy farming, to the next level with his family?
Yes, absolutely. I'm primarily a Jersey girl, and so is he, but we do have a couple Holsteins in memory of his grandfather, because that is what they milked for so long. last year, so we've been running now 5.5 years. January will be 6 years. So, yeah, and he got to come home full time last year. So he is really living up the farm life.
Well, I think it's awesome. And so 54 flavors of ice cream. I know you've got some kids at home that just absolutely hate being those taste testers of all the ice cream that y'all whoop up there on the farm. But what would be some of the family's favorites in terms of flavor? If we are driving through and we want to stop and pick it up or try it for the first time, what are some of those that always get the 2 thumbs up?
So one of probably our biggest ones is a salted caramel with pecan pralines, and we get our pralines, our salted caramel, shipped in out of Georgia, and they're excellent quality. But that's probably my number one seller, along with the butter pecan. I do have a sweet cream that is everybody's favorite. It's just a subtle, old-fashioned vanilla, we call it. Our strawberry is another one. We puree strawberries, and we try to buy local there, so from our local strawberry distributor. And then probably a cookies and cream is going to be the next one. We sell a lot of cookies and cream. And then we have one named after a road around here. We call it Rocky Creek Road. It's our twist on the Rocky Road part. So it's like chocolate with marshmallow swirl, chocolate flakes, and pecans. It's a hit, too.
Well, I hadn't heard one yet that I would turn down, so so I can imagine that is just the perfect treat for a Mississippi summer afternoon. You mentioned, Kristin, that you guys are close to Charlie's U-Pick, but help us better understand how to get to you guys' farm. You said you're open from 2 to 6 weekdays, but you may want to re-say that. I may have said it wrong.
Sunday through Friday. It's the only day we're closed is Saturday, Sunday through Friday.
And
2 o'clock to 6.
And so if we were looking for an address or how to find you, what's the best place to do that? Do you have a website?
I do, and you can find my basic info on there. Probably we have an ice cream trailer, too, that I take to different areas, like different days of the week. So I always post on Facebook. I know not everybody has it, but I do post on there, like where we're going to be, and I always try to throw in the barn hours just to keep everybody updated. But if you're on 63 coming from, I guess, north or south, like when you're in Lucedale, you can get on 98, actually, and head toward the Brushy Creek area or almost towards Leaksville. You can probably throw a rock across the Alabama line and the Leaksville line if that tells you kind of where the general, location we are.
If those aren't some Mississippi directions, Kristin. I love it. But I think there's so many of us that are going to be traveling Lucedale. I mean, everyone passes through it if we're headed either to the Mississippi Gulf Coast or maybe we're going to visit a beach in a neighboring state. You have to go through Lucedale to sort of go that way. So why not stop and make a detour and visit the farm or visit the barn, as you call it, or get some ice cream in one of your local vendors. On Facebook, you guys are Havens Down Home Creamery, correct?
That's correct. And our website, it has the hours too, I think, and the address. So you can punch in the address, the 121 Havens Dairy Road, Lucedale, Mississippi, and it will bring you right up to my barn. And we do have signs when you start to get off to main roads to kind of guide you in here, but it's pretty simple to find.
Is it easy sharing your husband with 13 other ladies?
Well, right now it's 13. Remember, we started with 13.
So how many is it now?
He loves his 32 ladies now. He sings to them. Oh, he loves them. He pets them. That's his girls now. He loves them.
Well, when they're well loved, it comes through in the milk and the cream and all the things. Well, I absolutely adore y'all's story, Kristin. I think it's super cool that you guys are bringing it back home to the farm here in Mississippi and trying to do something local. So I hope folks listening will reach out and support all that you are doing there at Havens Down Home Creamery.
Ma'am.
All right.
I appreciate it.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Happy June Dairy Month.
Thank you.
I don't know if I could share my husband with 32 other ladies. All